Welcome, 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 dear 8th graders. I'm sure you're as excited about another math lesson as I am. This one is going to be a good one. You're probably going to want to focus on this one. This one is a little more, this one is a little bit more high level. So I will go as slowly as I can and as clearly as I can, and we'll see what happens here. So hopefully this is something you'll enjoy. Probably not as much as I will here, but and the deal is this is, we've talked about these before. I don't know if you were listening when we talked about it, but we're talking about today rational expressions. And I have asked multiple times if you could tell me what in the world rational expressions are. And ladies and gentlemen, that's just another glorified mathematical way to say fractions. And what we're doing today is another little lesson on simplifying them. We could spend years, hours, weeks, days, months, centuries, millennia on simplifying them, but we'll do what we can here. Let's start out. Example number 1. They kind of go from easy to hard here. The directions just say to simplify this, and this will be easy. You should not have any trouble with this. It's 8h squared over 12h. Now, please note there's no addition or subtraction signs in here, so all that gobbledygook about, whatever, these are all factors right now as they are. So you can just jump right in and simplify this if you see something that you could simplify them with. For example, the 8 and the 12, if you had the fraction 8/12, you could just simplify both of them by dividing by 4. You divide this by 4, you get 2. You divide this by 4, you get 3. And the h squared just means h times h. And then you have 1h on the bottom, so that 1h crosses off with the other h. And what's all left? You just have a 2h on top and a 3 on the bottom. So it's 2h over 3. By the way, this is the same thing as 2/3 h, if you'd like to think of it that way. If the h is on top, you can set it outside there like that. If the h was on bottom, it has to stay on bottom because that's just the way it is. 2/3 times. You could put the h over 1, blah, blah, blah. But these are the exact same things, and they would both be acceptable. All right, certainly you're saying this must get harder than that because that's like first grade stuff. Well, let's look at example number 2. Pulling these out of the book here. Here is one. What if you have 2m minus 6 over m minus 3? Now we get to some of the more goofy stuff here. And now this one has subtraction signs in it. So like I said, you cannot just pull this 3 and cross it off with that 6 because these are not factors. Okay, the only way this bottom is going to cross off with anything is if there is an m minus 3 in parentheses or on top. That's the only way. The m's, you can't just pull an m out of that or a 3 out of that. So as is the case, if you're looking to simplify and you don't see anything, you must see if you can factor top or bottom or both. And in this case, if we do reverse distributive property, what can we take out of both of these terms? You can take a 2 out. And if you take a 2 out in the reverse distributive property, 2 times what gives you 2m? Well, I'm missing the m. The minus, because this is a minus, and what times 2 gives me 6? 3. And then you have this huge smile on your face because you realize, look, I've got an m minus 3 on top and an m minus 3 on bottom. They cross off, and the answer to this whole thing, when you simplify it, is a big, fat, happy 2. How about that? Never in your wildest dreams, 8th grade, would you probably have believed that that whole thing would just give you 2 for an answer. All right, here we go. Example number 3. Do I have enough room to do this down here? Sure. Let's do one more on this page. Here we go. 4y squared plus 8y. 4y squared plus 8y over y plus 2. Again, as you look at this, you realize the only way the bottom is going to cross off with anything is if you get a y plus 2 in parentheses. I can't take the y out and cross it off with that, the 2 with that. So what you need to do, again, just like we said up here, we need to factor. What can I take out of this? What is the greatest common factor? Well, it looks like I can take a 4 out. They both have 4s, and both terms have a y. So I can factor out a 4y. And when I take a 4y out of 4y squared, I'm left with a y. I have this addition sign. And what times 4y gives me 8y? Oh, look, it's a 2. It's a Christmas miracle. I have a y plus 2 on top and a y plus 2 on the bottom. Cha-ching, they go away, and 4y is my answer. To which you're probably saying, well, I think we've already done stuff like this, and I think we have. But here, ladies and gentlemen, this is something new. You can write home, tell your friends about. Let's go with a hot pink just for fun. Here is example number 4. And example number 4 looks like this. It is b over a cubed. B over a cubed minus 2b over a cubed. Now you're asking yourself, what in the wide world of sports is this? Well, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times when it comes with letters, it's sometimes better to think about what you would do if they were numbers. And if we thought about these as just being, if these a cubes, which are identical, that's important. If these were both 4s, what would I do? First of all, if you remember, when it comes to adding and subtracting fractions, Mr. Hahn's rule has always been to write them up and down. So I'm actually going to do that because eventually this is going to help us. So I have b a cubed minus 2b over a cubed. And you remember the deal with fractions is if these were both 4s, they have common denominators. So I don't need to make them common denominators because they already have common denominators. What happens when you add or subtract fractions together? The denominator stays the same. So I'm going to end up with an a cubed here because they're both a cubes. And what do? I just add or subtract the tops. And what happens? I have a b minus 2b. And luckily for you, ladies and gentlemen, if you can do this, what is b? These are like terms, so you can combine them. B minus 2b is simply a minus 1b. And that's all over a cubed. And there's nothing there that you can factor out because obviously they don't have like letters or no numbers. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is as simplified as it's going to get. And noticing again, we add fractions together. If they have the same common denominator, you keep that same denominator and you add or subtract the tops. Now let's go with one where the book really tries to mess with your mind. You ready? Here is one. Maybe this will be our last one because you're probably getting tired of listening to me more so than usual. Example number 5. We have p times q to the negative 2 power minus 7 over p to the negative 1 q squared. And you right now are looking at and saying, what in the wide world of sports is all that? What a bunch of gobbledygook. All right, I promise not to use the word gobbledygook anymore. So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, before you get all bent out of shape or rattled on this, remember we do not deal with negative exponents. We need to change this so that they're all positive, which simply means this. I need to take this q to the negative 2 and put it underneath the fraction, which means it's going to end up being q squared. The p stays on top because it has a positive 1. And then over here, the 7 stays on top, and I need to move the p to the top because it's a negative exponent. It becomes positive p. and the Q stays on the bottom. And then you're like, whoa, look at how nice that looks now. Again, writing it up and down, P over Q squared, that's my first fraction, minus 7P over Q squared. And fortunate for you, the book is nice. You already have common denominators, so when you subtract those, you are going to get Q squared on the bottom. And then it's just simply 1P minus 7P's makes minus 6P's, which is better than having 2P's, because if you have 2P, you probably have to stop the video and use the restroom. Well, that was just a little bit of bathroom humor there. All right, kids, I'm going to stop right there because I think you've probably reached the limit of your, well, you probably reached the limit of your being able to focus about 20 minutes ago, but we'll stop right there. Hopefully most of that made sense. Someday we'll get back to math and these achievement tests will be over. So I appreciate you focusing this far. Have yourself a great day.